Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition Series, where I predict how every men's college basketball tournament will play out as I go round by round and pick winners based on my projections. Next up is the WCC, and before I do my predictions, I'm going to look back at my preseason projections for this conference and see how I did. Okay. First place, I had Gonzaga. They came in first. Second place, I had St. Mary's. BYU came in second. Third, I had BYU. St. Mary's came in third. Fourth, I had Pepperdine. And then being Pacific. Fifth was San Francisco. And San Francisco came in fifth, so that was a good prediction. I had Santa Clara sixth. They came in seventh. I had Loyola Marymount seventh. They came in eighth. I had San Diego eighth. They came in ninth. I had Pacific ninth. They came in fourth. And in the cellar, I had Portland, and they were in the cellar. So I got 3 for 10 correct for the West Coast Conference. And now, without further ado, I'm going to predict the 2020 West Coast Conference Tournament, which will be held at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. It all begins tonight, 9 o'clock on BYU TV. 9-seeded San Diego versus 8-seeded Loyola Marymount. San Diego 9-22 on the season, 2-14 in conference play. Loyola Marymount 10-20 on the year, 4-12 in conference play. The pick to move on is Loyola Marymount, as I have them projected as a 3-point favorite. Tonight at 11:30 on the BYU Network, 10-seeded Portland versus 7-seeded Santa Clara. Portland 9-22 on the year, 1-15 in conference play. Santa Clara 19-12 on the year, 6-10 in conference play. The pick, Santa Clara, as I have them projected as a 10-point favorite. Second round, tomorrow night, March 6th. 8-seeded Loyola Marymount versus 5-seeded San Francisco. 9 o'clock BYU TV. San Francisco 20-11 on the year, 9-7 in conference play. The pick is San Francisco, as I have them projected as a 9.5-point favorite. 7-seeded Santa Clara versus 6-seeded Pepperdine, 11:30 on the BYU TV. Pepperdine 15-15 on the year, 8-8 in conference play. I'm going to go with Santa Clara here. I have this as a pick'em. So, if I have a pick'em, then I'll just go with my gut. And I haven't really picked an upset, sort of, by a seed perspective. So I'm going to do it here with Santa Clara. Third round, 11 o'clock on ESPN2, or 10 o'clock, my bad, on Saturday night, March 7th. 5-seeded San Francisco versus 4-seeded Pacific. Pacific 23-9 on the year, 11-5 in conference play. This is actually a solid game between two teams that have been solid throughout the season. The better team here is the Tigers, as they'll advance to take on the Bulldogs. So the pick here is Pacific, and I have them favored by 3.5. Midnight on ESPN2 on March 7th. Well, it's really going to technically be March 8th by then. 7-seeded Santa Clara versus 3-seeded St. Mary's. St. Mary's 24-7 on the year, 11-5 in conference play. The pick is St. Mary's, and I have them projected as a 7.5-point favorite. Semifinals, Monday night, 9 o'clock, ESPN. 4-seeded Pacific versus 1-seeded Gonzaga. The Bulldogs 29-2 on the year, 15-1 in conference play. As surprising as the Tigers have been this season, they don't represent a real threat to the Zags, as they'll advance to the conference title game yet again. So the pick here is Gonzaga. I have them favored, projected by 7.5. 3-seeded St. Mary's versus 2-seeded BYU, 11:30 on ESPN2. BYU 24-7 on the year, 13-3 in conference play. This could very well be the best game of the WCC tournament. This is going to be fun and entertaining, and I believe the Cougars move on, led by Jake Toulson, as the Gales will settle for an at-large bid. So the pick here is BYU, and I have them favored by 2. Championship, Tuesday night, 9 o'clock ESPN, March 10th. 2-seeded BYU versus 1-seeded Gonzaga. This should be a very good title game. The Cougars did knock off the Bulldogs a few weeks ago, so I expect complete revenge here for the Zags, led by Filip Petursev, as the Cougars will get an at-large bid. So the pick here is Gonzaga, and I have them projected here as a 4.5-point favorite, as Gonzaga takes home the auto bid for the WCC tournament, as BYU and St. Mary's will settle for at-larges. Next up, the SoCon Conference.